What up, freaks? Crafty here, front row at thefreakshow.com. So, it's Memorial Day weekend, and soon my personal Facebook page is going to start filling up with posts from virtually everyone paying homage to those in the military, past and present. Like slapping one of those yellow ribbon stickers on their bumper. It makes them feel good about themselves, and of course, feel good about being an American, so they can go out and barbecue some chicken with pride. I happen to think there's a better way to honor the troops, and that's by raising the social consciousness of civilians and troops alike, with the crazy notion that very few of these brave men and women, if any, should be asked to put their life on the line in the first place. Absolutely, folks, we do need to remember all those who have served this country, and especially those who have paid the ultimate price of their life. Think of how many kids never even got to enjoy a beer at a ball game because they weren't old enough to, but were of age to come home in a pine box. According to Wiki, starting with the American Revolution, it's 1.3 million dead American soldiers. 1.3 million, with another 1.4 million wounded. And when you add on the number of lives affected or devastated as a result of each of those deaths, it's truly a staggering number. Let me ask you something. Don't you think we owe them just a little bit more than a Facebook post a couple times a year? Why don't we simply start by asking the most fundamental of questions, like, what are they fighting and dying for? Or perhaps maybe who are they fighting and dying for? You know, it's so hard to actually funnel this into a brief, cohesive message due to the enormity of the subject matter and the possible tangents that could be explored and detailed. That said, I think it's very much worth the time to listen to one of, if not the most decorated veteran in United States history, Major General Smedley Butler. Soon after his unprecedented military career, he wrote a book titled War is a Racket. It was written in 1935. This book is now 80 years old and sadly as relevant as ever. In his foreword, he says, quote, "I suspected I was just part of a racket at the time. Now I am sure of it. Like all the members of the military profession, I never had a thought of my own until I left the service. My mental faculties remained in suspended animation while I obeyed the orders of higher-ups. This is typical with everyone in the military service. I helped make Mexico safe for American oil interests in 1914. I helped make Haiti and Cuba a decent place for the National City Bank boys. I helped in the raping of a half-dozen Central American republics for the benefits of Wall Street. I helped purify Nicaragua for the International Banking House of Brown Brothers in 1909 to 1912. I brought light to the Dominican Republic for the American Sugar Interest in 1916. In China, I helped to see to it that Standard Oil went its way unmolested." End quote. And then he began chapter 1 by saying, quote, "War is a racket. It always has been. It is possibly the oldest, easily the most profitable, surely the most vicious. It is the only one international in scope. It is the only one in which the profits are reckoned in dollars and the losses in lives." End quote. Again, that was 80 years ago. And I get it, I really do. Until recently, information has not always been at our fingertips, but it is now, and has been for a few years. When do we draw the line in the sand and say, no more? No more sending our kids off to die so a few elite, rich, old, and I'll say it, white men can get richer. Because that's all it is, folks. That is all this is, period. It is not to spread, promote, or defend democracy, and they insult our intelligence every time they tell us that it is. I say enough. Yemen, Syria, Somalia, Haiti, Libya, Liberia, Iraq, Afghanistan, Colombia, the Philippines, Panama, Venezuela, Bosnia, Grenada, Nicaragua, Chile, Iran, and Cambodia are just to name a few places in the last 40, 50 years that we have invaded or used our military personnel to aid in either changing or protecting the regime in place. I mean, you tell me. Are any one of these places a budding example of democracy now that we have been there? Have we truly ever liberated anyone? 14 years in Afghanistan and it's back to the Taliban in control. 12 years in Iraq and it's a bigger mess than ever. 1 million Iraqi civilians have died over that time. 1 million! Half of which were children. And we invaded because Saddam was killing his people? Meanwhile, Saudi Arabia is one of our closest allies and have one of the worst human rights records in the world. Women are no better than property, and citizens are routinely jailed, beaten, or executed for such things as adultery, blasphemy, or homosexuality. Yet our presidents in turn, Republican and Democrat, bow and kiss the hands of the Saudi royal family. I feel how all this plays out comes down to sacrifice, really. Basically, too many generations have let this go unchecked. And now, unfortunately, it's at critical mass. However, if we can come together, recognize it, and stand united, we can change it. I truly believe that. It is easy to get swallowed up in the negativity of it all, but I, for one, am optimistic. And not just that, but I'm darn well giddy at the idea of a world not dominated or controlled by rich, psychotic scumbags. Think of the things we can accomplish in the world we can leave our children if we just step up, pull together, and make that sacrifice now. 1.3 million Americans have paid a sacrifice far greater than anything we would ever need to do. And millions upon millions more have said they were willing to give their life to defend us and protect our freedom. All we need to do is give a little time and maybe some thought. And worst case scenario, going without a few luxuries we've grown accustomed to. We do that and we can take this country back. To me, that is how we remember. That is how we say, thank you. Hey freaks, if you like this video, keep checking back here on YouTube and of course, frontrowwiththefreakshow.com. It would be really cool if you just go ahead and click that subscribe button and share it with all the freaks in your life to help spread the word. You can also find us at Front Row with the Freak Show on Facebook and at The Freak Show, you tweetheads. Tune in, peace out, and get that freak on. You hear?